Ready?
Go ahead.
Just waiting to see the live box.
Should be already there. You're frozen.
Piece of shit.
WTHC, good morning, everybody, and welcome in.
You're watching a CBG TV content provider broadcast.
The opinions expressed during the show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or CBGTV.com. The medical and health information shared does not constitute a physician-patient relationship. It is provided for general informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional care.
You're gonna get so high because we're pot smoking. I said we're getting high because we're pot smoking. We're gonna get so high because we're pot smoking. That's right, we're getting high because we're pot smoking. Good morning, sunshine. How you feeling?
Is it time?
Yeah, it's time.
WTHC. Are we leaving us like this?
No.
Oh, okay. There you go. Woo! I get too cramped in that little box like that, man.
That's it, eh? Little boxes.
I like little boxes, but well, not when they're that small.
Happy birthday, Kyle.
Too tight. Welcome in, everybody. Good morning. We have a show, Dr. High. Out of nowhere, I made a new friend today. Our friend Carrie from yesterday is still amazing. Yesterday, she was amazing. Today, she's amazing. She's just nonstop amazing. She introduced me to a friend. His name is Scott. They were calling him Scotty. And he wrote Scotty as his name there. So Scotty G. And it says Cannabis. What does it say for his name? I'm just going to bring him up, Dr. High. We're going to bring him up. Scotty, are you ready? Give me a thumbs up. All right, here he comes, everybody. Welcome in, Scotty.
I'm always ready to rock and roll, man. Any day.
Nice. How's it going in the morning?
Man, it's nice to be in South Florida. I can't complain. How about y'all?
It's pretty good behind you, that's for sure.
Like I said, I can't complain to be in South Florida.
Today I saw the guys out staking around the driveways to prepare for snow removal where I'm at. So that's a little scary that they're doing that already. But
yeah, well, there's a
big one. I don't live in that world. Yeah,
there's a big one coming across.
I'm contagious of the cold.
Yeah, no doubt.
Me too. There's a big one coming across North Dakota and Canada, I'm sure. So yeah. I'm sure it's coming. I don't know. I hope it doesn't come my way. That's all I know. So, Scotty.
Come sooner or later.
Oh, he's frozen again. Look at that scary face. See it, Scotty?
What's going on? I'm ready for you. If you can hear me, I'm good.
You're good. I hear you. You and I are good. He's frozen. Look at him.
All right.
He's up in Canada.
I'm frozen with a stupid look on my face.
He's frozen with a really strange look on his face. So, Scotty, why don't you, while he's frozen, why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know, including me, because we only got a really quick, brief introduction earlier, and then you agreed to come on, and I was like, yay.
Yeah, you kind of snuck up on me there, but it's okay. Listen, I've been in the cannabis industry, legally since 2017. I was in the corporate offices before then, and previous to that, I was in high-end restaurants. So, leaving my corporate office, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and that was in sales management. I joined the cannabis industry, but the most important thing, and, Dr. High can probably back me up on this, was getting the education on the product, and really you don't need to sell cannabis. You need to educate the product that's going to benefit the consumer. So what I did is I went out to Colorado. I got my marijuana enforcement division badge, and I sold wholesale. And then I went ahead and worked in the recreational medical dispensaries out in Colorado, and I had an amazing time. So I went ahead and made sure also to learn my product. So, winning, my corporate awards of, sales managers of the year 2015 and 2016, I needed to make sure to put, legal cannabis industry on my resume. On top of that, I needed to make sure that I knew the product, better than anybody that's going to be in Florida right now, other than, my friends that I grew up with.
Right.
So I went ahead and, tackled that, had a great time. And as soon as I got back, I really targeted TruLeaf. They had 14 stores at the time. So I was with TruLeaf from 14 stores to over 130 stores.
Wow.
I opened their number 100 store twice. So I opened their 100 store for the company, and then opened their 100 store, then the 100 store in the state of Florida. So, I really been able to be a part of the, creating the standard operating procedures, in the retail division. And a lot of that surrounded it, separate from, inventory control, and employee motivation. A lot of that turned into, really education of the product, because, it's always service over sales, all the time. So you really need to know what you're offering to benefit the patient. So to have that authentic and reciprocal relationship really was important. So being with TruLeaf for a while, I was all around the state. I opened up numerous locations. I was asked to come and help open up, other locations. I took over areas. I'll probably be proudest to tell you that my hometown's in Miami, and I was able to come and open up the Fort Lauderdale location, which was great. Nice. And it won the sales record for as much legal cannabis you can sell in one day in 10 hours. And we'll skip
that in Fort Lauderdale. Wow.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, listen, when half of the medical patients show up, and half of them because you grew up with half of them,
right?
It works out great. But really, it was able to benefit the patients. We had an amazing time. We were able to get the education out there that was needed, and that store stayed number one for about 2.5 years. But after leaving that store, I really just cleaned up some areas, and then was invited to go up to the Panhandle and took over the entire Panhandle area and brought that area to number one. And then did the same over in the Jacksonville area. And before I left, I was training area managers and responsible for about 19 locations. So I had an amazing time at TruLeaf, and really I still have an amazing time, because it's not really, you don't work for people, you work for your employees, and that's what leaders do. So it's a great that I'm able to still establish those same great relationships. I'm going to be meeting at 710 Dab Days this weekend in Jacksonville. And I'm going to be meeting Air set up, and then I'm going to be talking to CureLeaf about something on Tuesday. So, it's just great being a part of the industry. It's great helping out events. As you know, Carrie's Kitchen, I sponsored some events at some booth. I sponsored some booths at some cannabis and psychedelic events here in Florida. For other companies, but also for Carrie's Kitchen, because if you met her, you'll know WDH. She's just
what the hell?
Yeah, she's amazing. If she can't make you laugh, then you're the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. She had me laughing my ass off.
Very methodical about what she's doing, and she's very concerned with producing high quality product from good source materials. And
shout out to everybody over there.
So, that's definitely important. And going back to what you're saying about education, 100%. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Sales aren't made on a pitch. Sales are made on rebuttals, right? It's how you contest with a patient's concerns, how you're able to educate them. That's really what matters. What are the rules like in Florida as far as your dispensary employees? What kind of communication can they legally have with patients who come in to ask about product and potential benefits and such?
Well, let me back up to where you were talking about how, providing the service is also what's most important with the best information. Because when you want to talk about quantify, anybody can quantify a sale.
Yeah.
But when you include great customer service and great recommendations, you then can quantify the sale over the lifetime of that consumer.
Yeah, because you build the loyalty.
Yeah. So I would say one of the highest priorities is to stop that I work in cultivation and I work in retail type of mentality and really get those brains together. Because as much as you might be growing, as much as you might be knowing, you're not talking to the final consumer. So we need to dive into who's talking to the final consumer and then who's observing those behaviors and making sure that they're in line with, the company brand and making sure that they're in line with what the patient's looking for, and I'd love to say I would love to say I know the answer. I would hate to say what's happening in Florida is now based on what sales going on for the day, not what product is best for the consumer.
Right.
And
that's your overall feeling of
it's
this.
almost like when I used to run high-end upscale Mortons of Chicago steakhouses, people didn't come in and say, what's your highest alcohol percentage?
Right.
But all the time, what do you hear? What's the highest THC?
THC. I want
That's
whatever
what
the
you
highest
hear.
THC is.
But if you really want the highest alcohol percentage, no problem. We got some moonshine back here. We got some Everclear over here.
Yeah.
With the Everclear, you can probably extract the psilocybin. It's so strong.
Yeah.
But really what's going to benefit you for that evening and that experience is, whatever that is best for, that consumer. But what do you need to listen? And you need to dive into that important P, which, I'll have 4 Ps, but, patience, one of those Ps. And the reason why is, in cultivation and retail, and since we need to bond those two, to have that knowledge is, the last time I went and picked out, a shirt, I didn't need to tell them some personal medical conditions that I might not want to talk to my family about for them to tell me that this is going to be the best looking shirt. Right. Even though I make the shirt doesn't make me, but you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't need to tell them, but when you go into a medical dispensary, you really need to have that authentic relationship with your patient so they can open up and talk to you about all those pain ailments, because I'm telling you, it's normally not just one pain ailment. There's normally multiple pain ailments that can, combine into one, and then on top of that, if you're helping out one person, there's 10 people in that family that you're also helping out too.
Because it's usually stuff is hereditary.
Well, not just hereditary. They got to live with that person that's being either happy or miserable or sick. And they don't want that person to feel sick, or they don't want, when you're happy up here, sometimes you're happier down here.
Oh, yeah.
So having that homeostasis, understanding the endocannabinoid system, but really explaining that to the consumer, that's the biggest gap right now in the sales in the cannabis industry. It's the biggest decline in the sales. It's the reason why they say they don't have money for labor. And the reason why you don't have money for labor is because you're not educating the people that are there.
I agree. I'm gonna cut you off for a second. I'm gonna say when I went to my dispensary for the first time ever, I walked in and I was expecting this big extravagant ordeal, and they were like, "No, here you go. You're gonna go sit down with the pharmacist, quote unquote pharmacist." I went and I sat down at this table, and the gentleman made me sign a couple papers, and he was like, "Yeah, those are the boards over there. You pick what you want, and you're good to go." I was like, okay. Yeah. And I just got up and I got online, and then, from there with no education, nothing. And until I met this gentleman over here, I've been a learner, I'm learning now what it's all about. And I feel like if you're making this much money, you should be able to hire a couple real pharmacists or real people who can teach you what you need to know when you walk into that place. Because my generation and older, we're probably mostly just potheads, like we didn't know any different. We just filled the bowl with whatever.
Right. You packed. Yeah, I got you.
We got what we got. You didn't bitch. You picked out all the damn seeds and stems, and you went with what you had. Now, but when I went in there, nobody gave me any knowledge. Nobody said anything. And I was just like, give me the one with the best THC.
Right. Which is the real problem in the industry, because
it's a missale.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what the thing is I mean, let's and the reason I'll go to Granddaddy Purple is because we're talking about having Ken Estes with us shortly.
Yep.
But Granddaddy Purple is one of the traditional, really good medicinal strains of cannabis. Yet it comes in at below 20% most times, but you have a nice terpene profile, right? You'll have 2.6% in the terpene range. And really, that's where people need to transition their thought process is away from THC and start looking at the other minor cannabinoids and terpenes that are involved in a strain, because they actually have just as much importance in the resulting experience with that product as THC ever will. And sometimes too high of a THC can be detrimental to somebody who's dealing with anxiety or something like that, because it can actually make it worse. You know, those high numbers. So
good morning to everybody over there in the chat. We're not ignoring you. We're just we're getting going. We got Scott right in here, and we went right at it.
Yeah, I love
Scott,
it.
I want to thank you so much. Dr. High, do we have anything we need to do? Do you need to do the Zen moment of the day? Do we want to get that in?
We'll run Zen a little bit. Maybe we'll run them closer to 1 o'clock. We'll have to do commercials in a minute or two.
All right.
And then our 420 song. But other than that, but there's going to be a lot of good conversation coming out of this engagement. I could see already.
Feel it already. I can feel it already.
Yeah.
Do you want to run the commercials now? You got them broken down into 2 now, right? So they don't have to.
Yeah.
You need to send those to me like that so I can play them on the
radio. I didn't have any computer time this morning. I was out. So
okay. Scotty, so what can we officially say? Where are you from now? Are you still with True Leave?
No, I left them on 4/20/2022. Since then, I signed some NDAs. I helped out some companies fill out some applications on this last round of applications that went around in the state of Florida. So that was really exciting because, I mean, the application process is really the DOH compliance guidelines and making sure that you have everything in place from, seed to sale. We're vertically integrated here in Florida, and you need to have everything established in line and what you're going to do. I mean, just to turn in the application, which, you could be transparent about this one because it wasn't a hidden secret. I mean, it was $150,000 just to turn in the application.
Yeah.
So really,
we're here in Canada, but we'll get into that shortly. But in Canada, you have to have a fully turnkey, ready to operate facility before you even apply.
Yeah, you have to sign some leases. So we had to really make sure to have the grow. So one of the major things that they come out here in Florida is they do the grow.
Scotty, hold on.
They start delivery out of it.
Scotty, hold on. We got to run these commercials so we can do our 420 thing. We'll be right back, guys. You're hanging with Da.Hippie,
dive into DoktorHigh.com. Unlock medical wonders, master home-based crafts, and debunk myths. Do you support our mission? Shop Dr. High AI Haze on Etsy for cannabis-themed clothing, mugs, and digital downloads using original AI cannabis art. Hell, we might even have some psychedelic mushroom items there too. We also have 25 books on cannabis and specific medical conditions available at Dr. High on Amazon.com. DoktorHigh.com, cannabis information, education, and advocacy.
Announcing CBG TV's Bud Break book. Get your copy, as it's on sale now. Get detailed strain reviews and more. Every purchase supports the ongoing efforts of CBG TV. Available from cbgtv.com, Amazon, or scan the QR code.
Say bye-bye to bottled water. Holistic Health Water has certified medical-grade water ionizers that make 7 types of water, including healthy alkaline. There's a 5-micron filter that lasts up to a year, and each machine lasts 25 to 30 years. Simply attach it to your faucet or install under your sink. Even get a mineral spa unit for your shower. Go to ownyourwater.org to get a free ebook. Plus, pay for any machine in full and get an extra filter free. Change your water and change your life. ownyourwater.org.
Discover the natural path to wellness at Tailored Herbs and Concentrates.
Herbs?
With a passion for holistic health, we are your trusted source for premium herbs and concentrates.
Wait a minute, do they have weed?
Our dedicated team is here to guide you on your wellness journey. Open 7 days a week, 10 to 10, ensuring you have access to what you need when you need it most. Tailored Herbs and Concentrates is located
Their
at
pot.
2941 Highway 11, Burnt Church, New Brunswick, Canada. If you need assistance anytime,
I need assistance. I need weed.
just call 506-871-4299. Tailored Herbs and Concentrates.
Where all the potheads go.
What's the word of the day, hippie?
WTHC. We're back and we're hanging. It's the Cannabis Chronicles, Cannabis Chronicles with the hippie and DoktorHigh, and we have Scotty here. The word of the day today is just walk into Tailored Herbs and Concentrates and say, I have cotton mouth.
I have cotton mouth.
Yeah, and they're going to give you a free pre-roll. That's it. Just walk in and say, I got cotton mouth. No purchase necessary. I mean, I would prefer you purchased a little bit of something, but, go get your free pre-roll. That's for sure. So let's get it on.
Nice.
Oh, ready? 420.
Yeah.
I'm like yelling, let's get it on the
Nice.
conversation. And,
Nice.
then I realize.
Actually, this is something I haven't done yet today.
Humid haze in a mental daze, down by the swamp where I was raised. Popping caps, listening to the rain. The shade of blues unknown by a few. It rings inside of my head like they always do. Hype is filled, reality's killed. Everything comes in twos. Yeah.
Nice.
Fresh on the brain is a habit strain. Smoke Lord, smiling right. Yeah. Known on the plane is Miss Mary Jane. She'll get you every time. Ooh, but in the middle between the lines, smoke it rises to the top. I can't breathe, my brain is fried. I guess I'll cough till I stop. Human haze in a mental down by the swamp where I was raised. I'm popping caps in back, listening to the guitar.
I agree, Garrett. Let's do it.
Yeah, we the source. You can just send it to me in Messenger. I'll check that out.
I'm going outside of them lines of the coloring books inside my head. Beyond the shadow of a doubt, I can't remember what the fuck I said. Ooh, but in the middle between the lines, smoke it rises to the top. I can't breathe, my brain is fried. I guess I'll cough till I stop. Human haze mental days down by the swamp where I was raised. I'm popping caps in the back, listening to the lady, yeah. The shade of blues unknown by a few. It rings inside of my head like they always do. Your pipe is filled, reality's killed. Everything still comes in twos. While everything will fall on you.
WTHC. Welcome back, everybody. You're hanging with Da.Hippie and DoktorHigh on the Cannabis Chronicles. We're hanging with our friend Scotty G, a leader in the cannabis industry. And Ben, how long you been in the industry since what? 2000 what?
Legally since 2017.
2017. Illegally since what? You were like 12.
Since we can go way back, man. I'm an OG, man. Down here in born and raised in Miami. What can I tell you? You know.
Yeah. I got 45 years with this plant behind me, so I understand that.
I got like 40 myself, so yeah. We're partiers.
We know a little bit about it.
So anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off like that, but we have like a time restriction over here on the radio. We got to get that 420 song in. You know, people get pissed at me if they're not smoking with me. Anyway, so let's get back at it. DoktorHigh, where do you want to start off with Scotty? Because I know I'm going to sit here and watch you two go at it.
Where we touched before we took the break. So there you also need to invest a pile of money before you can even enter the chain. Is that cultivation, just distribution, the dispensary side? Is that all of the
just like you were saying, you have to have everything set up, ready to go with plans on expansion. So what you could do is set up a cultivation site and run a delivery service out of there to start off with your dispensary sites as your leases you didn't sign yet. But at least you signed for the cultivation, the vehicles for deliveries, and you could start at least from there. That's just at least to start to get the license. But that's really for, I would say, application purposes and growth purposes. I mean, it'll be real difficult to, like you say, you sign the lease for cultivation, start building that out, get that ready, and then all of a sudden you have 9, 10 more dispensaries, and you don't get accepted.
Well, in Canada, it operates very differently. Like I wish that Canada would have adopted a model more like that would allow for companies to run all the way through easily. But here, you have to build out your facility to the point that you're either ready to extract on the day you apply for your permit.
Your blueprints have to be set up, and you have to have everything to the T, but you have to be like plugged in, ready to go with the structures.
Yeah, like that's it. Like if you apply today to Health Canada, you better be ready to put your plant in today. Not that you'll be given permission to do so.
Right.
But you have to be built to that point. The place
right. Well, you will be ready to go.
Talking about the financial part of it, just the financial of having it all the way built, and then have the possibility of them to still say no. That's
I
mean,
same type theory here, where you have to have things more of an established building, but at least you can start at the grow and do delivery from there. Separate from having a grow and then having 6, 7 retail locations already under built.
Well, here you get licensed in phases, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're built out. The first thing you can apply for is the cultivation license. You get the cultivation license, and you can apply for medical sales. So they come in, they test all your SOPs, they make sure that all your procedures are right, everything is done. They grant you permission for that. But you still can't sell retail. You can only acquire medical patients that you deal with directly and cultivate. Any product that leaves your facility has to go B2B at this point, right? So in the B2B chain, if you're able to hit your numbers at 25, 26%, then maybe you'll get $2.60 a gram. But if you're at 20% or below, you might get 60 cents a gram. Startup costs are about $4.80 a gram to cultivate when you're starting up a business like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's expensive, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I used to do fleet industries, and cents per miles mattered. So, I mean, I get it. It's same type of theory.
Because that's what's hurting the industry both here. And I think, the States, because you're not federally legal, that's a big drawback, but that'll come. It's going to come. But it's the regulatory framework, right? The hoops you have to jump through, the licensing fees, the rigmarole. It makes it tough.
The difficulty I have is once you've gone through all that and you finally made it and your store is open and you're doing well, why is it now not succeeding?
I feel like that you guys have an issue down there, and I only know from some friends of mine who tell me that as a medical patient, you can only get a certain amount of grams per day.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever it is. I don't know the whole rules, but I have a lot of friends, and some of them have
Business
told
to
me.
business, Garrett.
It's totally, well, I'll give you an example. When I was in Colorado, they had medical and rec. And one side of the counter was medical and the other side was recreational. When you came in as a patient, you were able to acquire more than you did if you came in as a recreational.
Right. That makes sense.
So it was like 1 ounce for recreational, 2 ounces for, if you had a medical card.
See,
On that, they've changed it since then, but that time I don't even think they had a max on concentrates. But now they had more. Now they have more of a maximum.
I don't want to ruffle the feathers or anything, and I should probably keep my mouth shut. But Pennsylvania right now, I don't know what they're doing, but I like it. I can go in there today and pick up an ounce, and go in there tomorrow and pick up an ounce, and go in the next day and pick up an ounce or a pound.
Yeah. You can do that in Colorado. You can do that every day.
I've walked in and out medically only. There's no recreational at all here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Right. As a medical patient, you can go in and really, you're not limited. Like here, you were talking about your friends that are down here, and I'll tell you what it is you can get 2.5 ounces in 35 days.
Right.
And that's your restriction on it. And you're allowed to carry around up to 4 ounces. So there are doctors.
How does that work?
Right.
Yeah. You can save it, I guess. Put it in the freezer, then put it in your car and carry it.
Or just make sure you got more than 4 people in the car that have the card, and you're pretty much okay with it. You won't go down that road.
Yeah. I mean, Florida is a great state for legalization because I think the real potential benefits of cannabis now are in the older generation, right? Our age and up. This is the generation that can really benefit from cannabis. The younger than us is more on the recreational side, which is extremely beneficial too. The statistics here have shown that.
I feel like the younger side, and I apologize for cutting you off, but they're recreational because they don't know any different yet. They don't know that they're self-medicating.
There's a lot of medical conditions that don't show up until later in life too.
Yeah, but you got that little bit of crazy going on in your head, and you don't know, and you're like, this helps with my crazy. You don't go tell your parents that you got that crazy going on.
Well,
and then
you have a point.
All of a sudden, you become an adult, and you got that crazy going on, and next thing you know, you're in Maine shooting up. God bless everybody up there in Maine, but for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? They're self-medicating, or are they recreationally partying?
And you brought up a good point there, because in Florida, since we're only medical, and still companies, still frown upon, cannabis here, at times, because it's still medical. So, there's a lot of people that, still are buying from their friends, and like we did back in the days, but they're really patients. They just can't, they're just scared to get a card. Right. Because they're worried about what their job might say, or what the state might say about them. So,
no, it's true.
To back up your point, a lot of recreational patients are patients. They just don't really even,
right. They haven't even recognized.
They use it because they know it makes them feel better.
Some of them might not admit that they need it for medical reasons.
Because they're feeling good and they don't know why. It's the cannabis.
Yeah, they don't understand that that's actually the catalyst towards their wellness, right?
Where's Mrs. High when I need her?
Well, like Dr. High, like I'll tell you, like, I've had, experiences with, people using different compounds and, using THC to maybe use to sleep or get to sleep, but then they get caught in that 4-hour cycle, and then introducing CBN really has helped them either. And I'm not telling anybody to stop taking any of their medicines. Discuss that with your physician. But a lot of the patients' feedback that I have seen is they've been able to reduce the Ambien intake that they've been taking because of the CBN that they've been using, not the THC, but the CBN has been helping them more, not just, it's more other than fall asleep, more stay asleep.
I think he's frozen, but
Yeah, I think he is
Yeah.
frozen.
he's just staring at us with a weird look.
Yeah,
But
He looks like he's really into what I'm saying right now.
he's very, very into what you're
He's
saying.
really interested in what I'm saying.
Whoa, either that or he's looking at
Intently
Hope you got hope you got what I was saying about the compounds, and
Yeah,
really,
I heard all that for sure.
yeah, indica really can almost, and I wouldn't, but really can get you in that 4-hour sleep cycle. It might get you to sleep if you were vaping it. It might keep you asleep a little bit if you took it orally, but eventually CBN is really what you're looking for, and that's not THC at all. That's CBN. It's a completely different, compound.
And what I find interesting in the States that we're not doing up here, because with the legalization, nobody's really bothered to look at some of these other cannabinoids, right? Because there's no need. Everything's there. But in the States, because of this 2018 Farm Bill and because of the status of just Delta 9 THC, so all these other minor cannabinoids and concoctions like HHC are still okay. So what it's done, though, what I found, is it's caused people to become creative with using CBG and CBN and CBC and all these isolated compounds with the THC removed in order to create formulations that people are finding beneficial.
Right.
Where that hasn't been done here. So that's a kind of a cool spin-off on the way that they've classified the plant in the States, is it's caused people to be more experimental with everything outside of THC, or D9 anyway.
Right, but wait a second. Wait a second. I mean, I guess it's okay if it becomes recreational everywhere, fine and dandy. But if they start diagnosing and saying, all right, you're for sleep, and maybe we are enjoying it as well, recreational. I don't want just CBN, and it's not going to get me the high that I want. It's going to, or it's going to.
Well, I would say you layer it. But when you're waking up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to smoke more to fall asleep, instead of layering, do some vape, do some smoking that's going to hit you higher. Use the CBN though, but you might not wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning then, and you might get a deeper and better sleep. Instead of waking up using more of the indica to fall back asleep again. I'm all for ratios, and I'm all for layering.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I wasn't suppressing an isolated compound like that. It's that people have been creative in the combination of them.
Have a 5 to 1. I've had plenty 5 to 1. Five. CBG to 1 THC, or vice versa. It really matters. It's a rate, but cannabis affects everybody differently. You got to find your own little sweet spot for it. But if you don't experiment, or it's like, don't knock it till you tried it, is what we would say to somebody using THC. Right. I would say I'm gonna someone using THC. Don't knock it till you tried it.
I'm gonna actually start shooting some of the shit into my anus soon, so I'm not gonna knock it. I'm gonna try it.
Poof it, right? I got you.
Yeah, I don't
know. It doesn't respond to edibles.
All right, we got some questions over here. I think in the question, Dr. High, can you scroll and answer some questions, because we got a couple. We got some questions over there. Good morning, Frank. Good to see you. Frank says he can get 3 ounces a day up in New York. But is that on indigenous land, Frank, or is that at a dispensary, like a legal dispensary?
So Garrett said these. There are studies that say that consistent cannabis use is actually bad for your sleep.
See what I was saying? It gets you back into that. It gets you back into that 4-hour ambient cycle.
4-hour issue, right?
That's what I was saying. Is so even if you take it orally, that it might last longer.
Well, that's what we were talking about last week.
It's a Band-Aid.
A friend of ours in Australia, our friend Steve, he might even be over there. We were discussing that because he has a lot of pain and he has issues sleeping at night, and he's tossing and turning. And I said to him, maybe try an edible. But over in Australia, they're still battling the battle to try to get, he got medical, but he's got some of the same rules as like you guys in Florida, where he only gets 2 grams a day. That's it.
Right. Well, I was saying getting the benefits of the whole flower would help out, because then you would really benefit from all the compounds and all the terpenes in it. So maybe, a full spectrum rosin cart might be as close if his flower's up, especially a rosin.
Well,
Yeah, and that'll last quite a while if you're only taking, a few pulls on it a couple times a day, 3 times a day. That card will last quite a while.
Yeah.
It's crazy expensive for you guys down there, though. I feel so bad for these medical patients. Like, it's just not right the way that they're treated.
Thank
And
you.
the
Well,
one-
that's why I said now that what happened is COVID hit, so people got stuck down here, right?
right,
So people couldn't fly back up to New York, and most of our clientele is veterans and elderly.
Mhm.
So a lot of the snowbirds got stuck down here, and so a lot of the high sales just covered up the labor. It covered up a lot of the controllables. I mean, you lead your people to success,
Mhm.
right? Like managers think their employees work for them. Leaders work for their employees, but you still got to manage your labor. Lead your employees, but manage your labor. But don't be disguised that you have a lower labor percentage just because you have high sales. So then that's really a lot of the holes that the dispensaries fell into is, oh, look at this sales and look at this labor that we can afford. And it's like, it really should have been lower than that,
Yeah.
because you weren't really managing. And then your leaders, what they were doing is, they were going to work for people that were going to develop them, and leaders build leaders. But right now it's now stuck into a cycle of who's having what sale for the day. It's not
Right.
who's providing the most knowledge for their
Right.
patient for them to get the most benefit, because I'll tell you, don't put a price tag on someone's relief.
No.
Right.
and-
God damn it. God
Yeah.
damn it. Yes.
Give them the knowledge they need
Preach.
for them to make the most educated decision, and let them decide what they need to purchase. But without the knowledge, they're not going to know. And that's why I said, when I get this shirt, that's how I'm treated when I go into a dispensary. They're not diving into my pain ailments and things that could benefit the patient, because you could have multiple, things that I would want to acquire. One, I might want to layer the indica and enjoy my relaxation. I might want my GDP at night, right? And that might help me fall asleep. But to stay asleep, like we were saying, I might want to introduce the CBN. Well, it's a missed opportunity for both the patient and the company. Well, that's what's happening. I mean, I've done too many presentations. I think we were at 110 stores where I was like, I use vaporizers a lot, high, concentrates of rosin or whatever. And I like to use vaporizers at times. And I'm like, offer 2 batteries. Why? At 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., if one battery goes down, I want another one, and it's not a bad recommendation to somebody like me. Let me say, I'll just take 1 battery. So I told them, if you did that to everybody, could you add on, and the average sale for a battery was like $35.
Yeah.
So I told them all, if we did the math, $35 a day, 365 days, over 110 stores, over 365 days, gave you $1.4 million.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where your bonuses are all at.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you. Anytime I ever sold, I worked for a short time in the retail side of the accessories industry, just for about 5 months in a transition. But never did a glass pipe leave that store that I had helped the customer with that didn't go with a ball of hemp wick. Everyone, right? Listen, butane, you turn that lighter upside down, it spews butane into your product and the bowl, and you're actually inhaling it.
You're getting all that butane and everything, right?
Yeah, buy this hemp wick, light it up, use that in your pipe. It's much better for you. It's really easy. And I'll tell you what, I bet you 97% of the people took that hemp wick with them. And it's a really good thing because you're helping that person out, because that scenario that you introduced about waking up at 2 a.m. and having a dead battery is real.
Yeah.
It happens.
Or,
all the fucking time.
Yeah. So for the cost of a battery, which isn't a large upsale, if it's a 510 thread battery, it's going to be somewhere between like $7 and $15 anyway.
Right.
So it's not serious money for somebody, but what it could prevent them from running into in the future has a great deal more value.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, it's harder on my wife having to hear me if my battery goes out than it is on me.
Right.
Did you do deliveries up in? Do you ever been where they would do deliveries?
Mostly gray market places deliver. They're starting now to open up for the legal distribution chain, because you here are a couple of types of distribution, right? You have Health Canada license distribution, which is regulated by each province and then across the whole country. Then you have dispensaries that are on First Nations territory, Indigenous land, which run by a completely different set of rules. And then you have operators that work in the gray zone because law enforcement isn't as motivated now to go after them because of the light sensing and stuff like that. So they'll offer a delivery service, by business card type thing and stuff like that. But yeah, we've had all three, but I've never had cannabis delivered because I like to shop by the traditional method if at all.
Right. Well, I mean, some patients can't come in.
Right.
So like I'll give you an example of two different things if I can. One is some patients can't come in, right? Two is how we have, let's say, the restrictions like you talked about, Da.Hippie, on how much cannabis we can get. It's monitored 2.5 ounces per day, whatever it might be. But and as I said, a lot of things are driven by sales. But why can't you use what's driven by sales to help benefit the patient and the store? And I'll give you an example. When you call someone to check up on a delivery here, you really have to follow with all the HIPAA laws, and that's just making sure we go by first name, date of birth, making sure we're talking to the patient, that we're not, disclosing any information to someone that's not the patient, or at least the caregiver that's on the card. But I'll tell you, when we do the delivery, we get so detailed on, we're going to be here at this time. I'm going to walk on the left side of the walkway. I'm going to skip on 2 feet. I'm wearing this color shirt. I'm going to knock 4 times. But not once do they dive into the recommendation. Look how much quantity that patient might have available. Look at what flower they have for flower they ordered, and say, hey, you know what? I noticed that you ordered the Granddaddy Purple flower. It happens to be buy 2 get 1 free. We're going to your house anyway. Did you want to add on an extra flower? So we'll drop off 3, for the price of 2 and instead of 1. And then you can have, more medicine. And I'll tell you, for people that can't drive anywhere and know exactly what strain they are, it's medicine and they need it. Yes, you're telling me I can get a free one of my medicines? Sure. So right then and there, if we don't do that extra diving into the patient's needs and are so focused on like where to walk and like what shirt I'm wearing, and and we're not just adding that extra service over sales, it's a complete missed opportunity. And if you can imagine what you can add on to one pickup order, if somebody happened to order the buy one, I would know, like if I'm on the phone, I'm going to know more about you than you before I get on the phone with you. Why? It's a service industry. I should know a lot about you. You're a patient. You're not standing in front of me, but I still should know the same about you. And I still should offer the most and the best recommendation. And the best recommendation right now would be 2 flowers if you normally order this on the time, and it's buy 2 get 1, or it's buy 1 get 1 free.
And the best relationships, if you look at any business transactions you've ever done, they always turn out one of 3 ways, right? They come out to where you have the advantage in the situation. You've been able to take advantage of the person that's either being sold to or selling to you. Then you have the inverse, where the salesman has been the one in the power position and won. But then you have transactions that were really fair for both sides. And the relationships that last are the ones that are fair for both sides, the ones where it's a win-win situation. And what you're talking about really provides that on both ends, from the business standpoint and from the standpoint of the patient, because we know that it's a fairly big expense for a lot of people. So they have to spend that money on the second item anyway. Mm-hmm. So why not give them the opportunity to do it now and have the advantage of getting a break down the line, right? It just makes total sense. And that's the way you build loyalty. We all know that, the traditional vices, be they alcohol, tobacco, even to gambling, people are brand loyal. You drink this kind of beer, you smoke this kind of cigarettes. But we can't really do that in the cannabis world right now because it's very difficult to gain that brand space. You know, like I know that in some of the dispensaries that I've looked at for the people who pay attention to the show, there's only a couple of companies involved, right? In that full entire stock of the dispensary. Here in Canada, it's a little bit different. You might have 80 companies that are putting product into the market.
Colorado would be different than Florida. I mean, I tell you, any state here is like a different country when it comes to rules and laws.
Right. And
I mean, it's completely different in Colorado. I mean, like I said, I sold wholesale and then I worked medical but I went to a medical marijuana enforcement division. They did my background check. They gave me a badge. And with that badge, then I was able to apply. Here, you apply for the company, and then the company does the background check on stuff on you. But that waiting period, people need to pay their bills.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. I want to start today.
Yeah.
I already got to wait 2 weeks to get my first paycheck anyway.
Right. What kind
I
of?
want to start today. So it's just structured. Everything's structured so different in every other state that it's like you can't just say Florida. It's like then it would be Colorado and Arizona. You know, it's.
So how did TrueLeaf train their employees? Because you got two kinds of people that are going to come into this industry, right? Some that think it's cool to work with weed, and then others who are really passionate about.
That's what I was going to say before. Like how reliable? I forget what you were talking about, but it was something about the bud tenders. You know, like I mean, you're talking about stoners themselves, giving them that responsibility. Whatever we were talking about before, you know, like. Yeah, I forget what
quantifying the sales.
Yeah, I mean, well, that I mean, I don't know,
and them having the knowledge because they're the ones that have the authentic and reciprocal relationship with the patient.
Right, like my bud tender, I try now to go to the same person, but it doesn't always work out. But I have one woman who is fantastic, and we sit down and we discuss with what I need, and we work together to get me everything that I need.
But see, this goes back to why I think that journaling is important for a medical patient. I believe that medical patients should be tracking their purchases, their consumption method, and their results so that you need to be a somewhat educated consumer. Not your first time that you go in, but if cannabis is going to be your medicine, you really should learn a little bit about the ones that you're trying so that when you go into a dispensary, you can have these conversations. So there's a responsibility on the patient too. Maybe not the first time or first few times you go into a dispensary because it's all new to you. But if you are a medical cannabis patient,
think about what you're saying and then put it in the concept of, diabetes medicine or
I've gone through
else. Do you go when you check? Do you turn them down? Do you say to the cancer doctor, let me test this first? Before you just take what they give you, bro. You take what they give you. They don't.
Well, I'll tell you, we've had a lot of those concerns, and we found a lot of the solutions, and a lot of it is what you were talking about. So, like a lot of what we did is here when you were the biggest and the best. Who did you ask? You couldn't ask anybody, so we had to. If there wasn't a path, we found a path.
Yeah.
So. First thing is you have to do, and I'll back it up a little bit, is start with great attitudes and start with great employees. Okay, that's the first thing you need to do because you can educate everybody all day long, but without a great attitude, you really don't. You're not going to have growth. So first thing you do is start with great attitudes. When you have great attitudes, then you can teach someone with a great attitude how to do anything. So then you have leaders that start to build leaders.
Right.
Okay. So whenever there's free time, whenever there's break time, and maybe some of this might be from back in my restaurant days, but like we never started without a pre-shift meeting.
Right.
We never started the day without everybody on the same page. And during that time, you talked about the successes from the day before. Yeah. You talked about some opportunities from the day before, but then you learned from them. And then what you did is you educated your staff on really what worked great. And then what were some opportunities and what we can do better. And then you find those people inside that are just doing outstanding. Those are now your trainers. You know, and really, if you're not inspecting what you're expecting anyway, I mean, you could put anyone in charge. If you don't know what's going on, sorry, but you really have to really observe, do observing, and see what's going on. And so I would say the most important thing in training is after that first day, a lot of things in the cannabis industry hit you at one time. I mean, it just smacks you a lot. And not just that, it's your first day at a new company, just in general.
Yeah.
Right. So as a leaders inside the industry, sit down with that new employee, find out about their day, find out what's important to them. So, they know that, their careers and, just as important, to myself as it is to them. Right. But at that time, you're going to find out more about the trainers than the trainee, because all they're going to be doing is telling you everything that they learned or they did not learn that day.
Right.
So then you dive into more, you have weekly meetings, and then you have your all-stars who are just those ones that are, run sales reports, talk to your patients, reach out to them, talk to them either when they're leaving or maybe do some service calls and find out, and when you have those wow employees, those are the ones that you have trained. And when you have leaders building leaders, I mean, you spend your time developing and not putting your fingers in holes, just to stay alive for the day, or maybe not stay alive for the day.
Yeah.
But how do you do the training? You got to start with a great employee, and then you have to do it daily. And why can't our education changes daily? You learned something here yesterday. I know I learned something.
Yeah, I sure did. As a matter of fact,
if we ain't passing this on to the people that are talking to our patients, we're failing as leaders in the industry. Right. It's our fault.
How do you educate the people who are actually interacting with the patients? How do you educate them as to how to actually talk about the plant? Like what information is allowed to pass? Because in Canada, you can't offer anything that you can't say, well, this strain is known to be beneficial for people with anxiety, or this strain is good for people with pain.
You can't guarantee this is going to fix whatever. I mean, even if you notice the terms I used earlier, what most patients have told me was blank.
Right.
I could always lead into any conversation like that.
Right.
If I needed to talk.
So you can speak on an anecdotal type basis, but not on any kind of.
I'll talk about myself. I just through laws, I can't talk about another specific patient that told me.
No, you can't disclose anything like that anyway.
Because I can't disclose, but oh no, we have also different sites that are up. A lot of the dispensaries put educational materials, not just in their lobby, but at least they should have a new patient packet. Right. And inside that new patient packet, which was another thing I was going to elaborate a little bit on earlier, is my friend, Brett made a book, and they even sold it on Amazon, and it was for your first day and weeks and months as a patient. And it just started as taking notes on what you took and what worked and what didn't work. And really, when you talk about the relationship, it's not the relationship that they just had on the counter. It's your entire relationship that you have with them as a patient.
Right.
Within your business. And I think with the patient involved, just as much as the, consultant needs to have their knowledge, I think the patient also, needs to be held up to, a lot of the expectations of writing down that information, because if you have that, that's just a great ammunition for the consultant to give you the best information. If you don't write it down and have some cannabis, I might forget what it was anyway.
So what I'm hearing here is, as a patient, I'm not, and I know, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but and this is kind of a joke, but in a way, as a patient, we're not really doing our job, because we should be testing these guys to make them know what they need to know and make their bosses teach them the proper way. So all of you guys out there that are paying attention, go in there and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to talk to them about what's going on, because you feel like you're rushed. You have a line of people behind you, but technically you could be able to spend an hour there if you want to spend an hour there talking to that person. I mean, if that's what we got to do to get the education we need out there, but everybody's afraid to talk to them. It's a rush. It's a line. Get in your line. Get in there. Get out. Get in. Get out. Get in. Get out. That's what it feels like.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you take if you went to and you had a procedure done medically, cannabis was not one of the first solutions at the time, and the doctor gave you, a specific medicine. You know what I mean? That's like you don't go into the pharmacy and just start picking out whatever that you want like you do in a dispensary.
Right. Yeah.
You have more of a steered path
Yeah.
on what you're needing. So
that goes back to my point before with DoktorHigh. When the doctor gives you that prescription, do you go and test it out before you start just taking it, or do you just go in and you just take whatever he says?
Do you dive into it online before you pick it up from the pharmacy in the first place?
Right. I can't even do that because I got mental illness and I get anxiety from all the side effects and all that. So my wife doesn't even let me see those papers when I get a pill.
Okay,
well, and that's the thing, right? That's why cannabis isn't FDA approved. So this is the thing. Doctors write prescriptions for medications that do very specific things. They may come with a whole multitude of side effects, but they do something very specific.
Hi, Jeff.
And that's what doctors are trained to do, to determine what your problem is and then give you the medication that's the most appropriate. Cannabis will never get FDA approval because it's not repeatable. It can't be standardized dose because every crop is different. Same strain, going to be a different result when it goes into your testing process. It's always going to be different. It's never going to be the same. The only thing you'll be able to do is make concentrates that are exact specifications or controlled dose at least.
With the terpenes listed and everything.
Let's face it, doctors are at a different level in society. That's why that company that started Oxy was so successful, was because they didn't put out there as a good medication. They pitched the doctors. They incentivized the doctors to prescribe it more because people have a blind trust in doctors. But cannabis is different because even the doctors can't tell you exactly what you need. You will only learn what you need. A doctor may say, okay, you have a condition that has some evidence of benefit from the inclusion of cannabis in your therapy. So let's give medical cannabis a try. So he may suggest that you take a capsule. He may suggest you use it in the flower form. He may make a suggestion as to the method of delivery, but he's not going to be able to advise you as to the specific plant that you should be looking at because, number one, everybody responds differently. And number two, all of them are somewhat a little bit different, right? So that comes down to trial and error.
Right.
So now you need to be a medical cannabis patient. You need to start paying attention to what you're getting from a dispensary and how you respond to that to see what works and doesn't work. And then once you started to narrow that down, an educated dispensary employee, if you go in and say, you know what, this Granddaddy Purple really works well for me. Can I get some of that? Well, we don't have that in stock, but we have this, which is a cross between Granddaddy Purple and Super Lemon Haze, let's say, for sake of strains. You know what I mean? So it's my absolute favorite, Super Lemon Haze. But there we go. So there is a patient responsibility to understand what they've tried and what the response was to.
Yeah, but DoktorHigh, what do you do when they say we don't have this and now all we have is this cross and you're not? So now I have to try that and say, okay, well, nope, it didn't work. So I've been paying this whole fucking month because.
Well, how about this? You go to a bar? There's not just one vodka. There's multiple vodkas, right? But there's multiple vodkas that you like and you don't like. But there's some that you like a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. If they didn't have one, then you went to your second choice. The problem is we're not diving in. Like the terpene percentage might be important, but to me, what terpene is it?
Yeah,
that's what's important because if I know what terpenes are in it, I'm going to find something that's similar to that matches that Kettle One, and Grey Goose is probably going to be the one sitting there. If I had to give you a good analogy, but GDP or maybe 9-pound or whatever, or Sunset
Bel Air
Sherbet.
Kush.
Sunset Sherbet, you know, like if it would be for Girl Scout cookies, I think next from there was Sunset Sherbet, and Pink Panties did Girl Scout cookies. So it'd be like, I can find the parent one for you that, you know, we can go through those for you and mix it. But I think that's why it's.
But
it's
is my
not just,
bud tender going to sit down and do that with me? No. So
but that's why I'm saying it's not just on the consultant's end. It's if we take our own medical hands when we go to the pharmacy and we go see our doctor, we Google those medicines to the end. I would say that we should do the same when you go to a cannabis dispensary, dive into the medicine that you just purchased and it either works or there's something that might be able to work better.
Yeah.
But without both involvement, you know, I mean, what would be great would be a computer system that just prints up and everything underneath that patient's profile that they've had or they've worked before. Excuse me for a minute.
Then can integrate.
You know, that they've had or worked before, populated up. I mean, that would be amazing.
And if you could integrate that into your stock process so that you could simply pull up a patient and see what they've liked that they've had.
Match it up by terpenes, not just by class of indica. Like, oh, I have another indica for you. Well, I know, but I'm really looking for more of these terpenes.
Yeah,
I am looking for that indica.
Yeah, and it's much more important. You're 100% right, because strain names, companies,
everything's a hybrid, you know.
Yeah, it's almost all a hybrid, but people just change the names anyway now and put their own branding names on particular product, right?
That's what I was going to say before.
Call it, Sleepy Time or whatever they want to call it, but you no longer know what that strain is unless it's on the label. So really what's more important are cannabinoids, terpenes. That's where the meat of a particular plant is. So yeah, those are the ones that you should need to understand. And I think it's the patient's responsibility over a period of time to track that and bring that information into a dispensary. And then it's the dispensary responsibility to know what products they have on hand that will work with that with that requirement. That's the two responsibilities.
You will lose the patient. They'll walk out the door and they'll go to another dispensary and they won't.
I'm already gone. I'm already gone. Yeah, you lost me. Yeah, I'm already out the door. I think that, you know, what you're saying is true, but I feel like, you know, you're dealing with a bunch of people who are older, in our generation and older, who have been, you know, regular smokers of just whatever the fuck we got. And you're not going to be able to change us to understand this whole medical bullshit, you know, like I got whatever I got. And I guess that I was a recreational smoker until I got a doctor who said, no, you're overqualified, dude. You deserve 2 cards.
You know now that some things work for you and some things don't.
Well, yeah, I know that I should stay away from sativa, but that's it. I mean, I haven't. I don't have the time in the day to sit down and try to figure out how I feel right now. I'm fucking working. My back doesn't hurt.
You're not prioritizing yourself, which you should be doing. Number one, you prioritize yourself.
I would say it's a quick note of yes, you like it or yes, you don't. But I think what the doctor was going to say is you didn't know that you liked it until you tried it. Right. And so there might be something else there that might work better, but you're just not using it because you're comfortable with what you currently have right now. But there might be something that might work better out there, but you don't want to try it because you're comfortable with what you already got.
Yeah, there's that. And there, I think what Hippie's saying is a lot of people don't think that they'll take the time, right, to pay attention.
Well, that's why it's an authentic and
I think that some of us older stoners are not going to sit down and try to figure out how to open up the computer to try to figure out how to find out what fucking strain and what terpene.
You used to write a check. You used to write checkbook, right? If you used to write a checkbook, then you can take a note. No one's asking you to open up a computer. It's just write a note and bring that whatever information you can bring in. No,
so, yeah, and by the time I find, you know, a year later, and I'm sorry, I'm not being a dick. I'm just making the argumentative point of it is that I feel like a lot of us are not going to want to do that. I mean, I understand what you're saying. It makes sense to me, but
I'll talk to you in a different way. and I'll use the sales in me to let you know that you got to try something new, that you're gonna love it, and you know, I mean, try it out. You'll probably come back, and that's your new strain.
And this is where you're a bit different too, Hippie, because you used cannabis all your life, and then you discovered that it could be used as medicine. But you have that whole history of just cannabis use. But for somebody who is a new patient to cannabis, and many people now coming in didn't use for a very long time because they had a professional life, they had their kids, they were trying, you know what I mean? That just didn't fit their lifestyle at the time. But now they have a medical condition that potentially can benefit from the inclusion of cannabis. So these are the people, because now they use cannabis and they've only come back to it as a medicine. Their psychology and their approach to tracking and journaling and paying attention to what they're consuming and what works and doesn't work is a different mindset than somebody like myself who's used cannabis recreational all their life. If I was now, well, me, I would track it, but yeah, I understand what you're saying about this, and it makes sense.
Yeah, no,
And
like
you
I
might
said,
be a
I understand.
0.01% of the population, you know. You
No,
might
but
be.
I
It's
totally
your
understand.
opinion. It's your opinion, you know.
Yeah.
And
No,
granted,
I totally understand what you guys are saying, and I get it, track it, but I feel like there's not enough. They're not doing enough.
when
for
you go
us,
in, do you
for us.
talk to them?
I,
Like if
I,
you-
I do, and I feel like we should be telling everybody to make sure they talk to their people.
They should be putting it in the notes in your patient profile, and when you come in, they can remember it for you.
I'm going to tell you something.
You know?
Since I met Dr. High and we started doing our show together, I've become an educated consumer, and I'm not quite, I'm not fully educated. I'm still learning, but I was just a pothead, stuffed the bowl, smoked the shit, and put it out, and that was it. And I felt good, and that's all I cared about is I felt good.
Yeah.
I didn't care what it was. Still don't care. But I now have to realize that there's things that could help me. So I'm trying to figure out that. And I understand but there's so many damn names and so many damn terpenes and so many you're talking to a 52-year-old stoner, man.
Well, that's why talk to your consultant and have them take the notes.
But that's what I'm saying. There's
a patient profile. There's a patient profile. That when I mean authentic and reciprocal relationships, I mean, it's like people learn in different ways, right? Some people learn by writing. Some people learn by, okay, you're the one, a patient that doesn't want to write something down and you'd rather talk to the consultant. I would say, great, that solution works great with you, but at least we're moving forward past who's writing it down or not.
For you in that case, no problem.
Right. I'm not a good learner. That's how
right.
I'm not a good learner. They should be taking care of me. I am their patient.
Well, like I said, your authentic and reciprocal relationship is your voice reciprocating
All
to
the
the
ladies say
consultant.
that. All the ladies say that. Woohoo! You got a sexy voice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. High, you're fucking falling behind, bro. You didn't do a commercial. You missed the 4 Zen minutes. Now we got another commercial coming. I'm gonna fire your ass over there.
Well, we got about 2 minutes, and then I'll run the Zen moment for the day. We run a Zen moment every day. We have a creator here that's good enough to provide us with some of his content. He does some really incredible stuff, but it's always cannabis forward, right? Which is what we promote all the time, whether it be recreational or medical. We advocate for it, but we don't shy away from the bad parts either, such as the memory loss that gets suffered from time to time around here.
It's just, I feel like when you walk into a dispensary, I just feel like it's like an automatic, it's like a machine. Boom, boom, get in your line.
It shouldn't be like that. Like you feel like cattle.
I feel like I'm cattle. That's exactly
and I'm
right.
agreeing with you. The biggest issue
There was no argument.
education.
Right.
The biggest issue in service over sales.
Right. That's why I said earlier they should hire more people who are knowledgeable, those all-stars that should be sitting on hand. You know how you go to the bank and you got all those other people that sit in the fancy clothes on the other side of the bank, and you go talk to them. They're the smarter ones. And then you got, no offense to any of the tellers, but whatever, they've worked their way up and they become the banker people, and then the tellers are over there. They should have people like that where you can go and sit down and have a conversation and talk to them every day.
Or
if
maybe
I want to go there every day and say, instead of me going there and buying 3 ounces and saying, hey, maybe this will work this week.
Yeah. Well, that manager could also get out of their office and go stand behind the registers and make sure that the right behaviors are going on, because I'll tell you, at the stores that I ran, you were
Because
not
they
allowed
should
to
be
be
the most knowledgeable one in the room.
You weren't allowed to be a back end manager. You needed to be a front of the
They're
house
like
manager.
cattle too, man. Their little hallway that they got is about the size of a hallway.
Yeah.
And there's 8 of them running around, bumping into each other, backing into each other, falling over each other.
Well, that's your spot.
And nobody. And my spot is 45 minutes to an hour away, depending on which one I want. And my spot also, doesn't, I don't want to go there. I have PTSD. I don't like to drive.
Right.
So I don't want to go there every fucking day.
Oh,
So
no, I hear you.
I buy for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. So that, so then I'm trying that medicine for 2 or 3 weeks before I get to say, hey, no, this shit don't work. I got to go back and get something else.
And that's why you track it on a piece of paper. So when you go in, you can say, oh, I don't like this one. It was too high.
Okay, but that's okay. I'll just suffer in pain for the 3 weeks until I'll track it every day. Yup, still in fucking pain.
Well,
still in fucking pain. Day 5,
well,
still
no,
in fucking pain.
on that note, I think we should have our Zen moment of the day. Hippie.
Yeah, right.
Zen moment.
I need a Zen. I need the Zen. Yes.
Yeah.
Woosah, woosah.
Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Wave the banner from you know your soul clean. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Roots reggae music up in your bloodstream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Every corner, every lane, every scheme. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Yes, enough you know. This are the energy, the people, them been locking reggae beat. This are not trapping, all who feel like them are tapping, really sleeping, and them napping while me flying round the world. Think man a genie like Aladdin, and for water down the message just be streaming. I'm not having people in a foreign say them not get no good music. So me go on in at the booth and then record like man a Cupid. Hit the target when we shoot it, it not hard to execute this lyrics. God, me don't tell it for watch me prove it. Red, gold, and green.
Nice.
There it is, our Zen moment of the day. I feel much better.
Thank you, Zen.
I apologize, guys, if you feel like I got out of control. I feel very passionate about this. I feel like they should be more helpful to me.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, no, and I know we're not fighting. I just, I got a little loud. I apologize.
But every cannabis affects patients, in different ways, and also.
Uh-oh. Hello? Hello? Am I here by myself?
Not cool.
Bad. Hello?
Just set up the commercial, but
Scotty G?
yeah, I think Scotty froze.
Scotty G, are you okay, buddy?
It was that rosin pen.
Uh-oh.
Got him stuck.
I think he's hot.
Thank you, Zen.
I think he's
Love
hot.
what you do.
Scotty G. Nanu.
Shall we run the commercial while we wait?
Yeah, why don't we run the commercial, get Scotty G off over here to the side. So
All right.
and then we'll do
Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry.
Good, I'm
Badger
glad.
Heart Puppetry.
puppetry. If you need some kick-ass puppets, contact Forge at 1-636-234-1535. He has all your puppet needs. He can fix puppets, build puppets, custom-made puppets. He has puppets off the rack for cheap prices. Contact Forge today at 1-636-234-1535 or on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes LARPing items too.
Are you in the Ellensville or Middletown, New York area? Revamp your space with Collins Paints Ltd. Ugly walls? Let Collins Paints Ltd add a splash of color to your world. Collins Painting is a veteran-owned and operated business. They can transform your space to whatever your heart desires. Say goodbye to the boring beige and hello to possibilities of bright and vibrant colors. The Collins Painting team are a group of skilled professional painters who will turn your vision into reality. Call Collins Painting Ltd today to get a fast and easy quote. Available Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call them at 845-869-8176.
Hey, Mrs. Hippie, why don't we take a ride to Dauphin, PA today?
Dauphin? What's in Dauphin?
Bella's Badass Crystals.
Oh,
You got
but
me
I
there?
thought you hang out with them on Facebook and on TikTok.
That's only on Mondays, Tuesdays, Saturdays, Sundays. Today I want to go there and pick up all my great finds.
That sounds like a great road trip. That's Bella's Badass Crystals on TikTok and Facebook, but you can also find them on the top of the mountain in Dauphin, PA.
They are badass.
Happy 420, everybody! Woo-hoo.
Man, muck. Yeah. You got the right idea there, Scotty.
Yep.
Got that nice distillate going on there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go fill mine back up soon.
Rosin?
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some more rosin. Here, Todd. You like this one?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Nice.
See that?
Yeah.
Stronger together?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Stay loyal.
Stay loyal.
I like it because it's like the psychedelic industry coming blooming out of the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
we're
are
gonna
stronger.
see-
Yeah.
We're going to see mushrooms coming in not too distant future. We're going to see therapeutic mushrooms.
They're everywhere in Florida.
Yep.
We're back, WTHC. Good afternoon, everybody. 124 over here on the East Coast. All right. I want to give a big shout out to everybody out there on Live 365 and tune in for hanging out with us. We are having a great day. I got a little riled up I'm gonna go take some Xanax after this. No, I'm not. I'm gonna
Just
go
smoke
take
a joint.
I'm gonna go smoke a joint. Yeah, I haven't
There you
gotten
go.
high in a couple hours because I got a puppet, and you guys get to sit there and get high the whole time, and I'm over here working my ass off. Ah! I'm jealous. I got to start buying more carts.
There you go.
4:20 in the morning in Australia. Woo woo! There you go. Now we know Steve is here. It's 4:20 in the morning.
We'll
in
celebrate
Australia.
you every day, Steve.
Now we know. Steve, it's you.
In True Leave, when you were looking to hire an employee, what did you find a lot of people coming in that were really like
knowledgeable? Did you say
knowledgeable about cannabis? Did you find a lot of?
Yeah, he froze. Hold on.
Yeah, I was wondering. Did you find a large number of people coming in looking for these positions were already knowledgeable about cannabis, or were they more people just wanting to come in because it's a cool thing to do?
Dude,
right?
Well, you'd have both. You'd have knowledge and you'd have passion.
Okay.
And now the knowledgeable people would also have passion, but
you have to.
But like I said, what did I do? I left to get some knowledge to come back.
Yeah.
But really you have when you have, it's a positive and a negative, because sometimes when you start diving too high, okay, you start losing the patient. Really. So it's great when it comes to training, developing, using them in shift meetings so everybody's knowledge can expand at one time. So it's one of the benefits. Not all your employees are the same, but yeah, you're going to find some that come in there that speak different language that I don't even understand at times, but then again, you're going to lose the patient too.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah,
How does somebody deal with that?
Pardon me?
I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with translation? Like in my place, we don't have, everybody seems to be an American speaking English person. There might be some Spanish speaking people there, but what happens when you have somebody who comes in and speaks Russian and you don't have anybody that works Russian there,
normally in Miami and Florida, that doesn't happen as much, but and if there was someone that spoke another language, like if it was Creole, maybe from Haiti, or Spanish from any of the either islands or South American countries that are here in Florida. Normally, what you also try to do when you build a retail team is try to establish a diverse team, that is similar to the surroundings of the community. And I would say that you'd want to do that in almost any industry. Yeah. But that's how your community is going to feel comfortable exposing that patient and authentic reciprocal relationship with you. So like I said, it really goes back into starting by hiring, the great people from the start, and then providing the great training, and then the follow up and the follow through that consistently goes with it. And then the constant training on the daily, and then the revisiting the training. But during that time, you're finding your leaders. And because of how growth was in Florida, you now are, your leaders are really your leaders. They're moving up into the higher positions. But if you're not doing that and you're not ready for it, then you're going to grow too fast and you're not going to have what you really need in that store. And then it doesn't become, is the person smart or they have passion? It's just a body. And that's, you don't want it all.
No.
So really it's,
I just hired 5 new DJs this
I've
week.
definitely had some people in interviews that have lost me completely on cannabis. And I asked them, is it your passion to be in retail? Is your passion to be in the grow facility? What's important to you is important to me. Yeah. So I want what's important to them, and it's in retail, and so how about you help us out with doing some training tomorrow and something? And it's just, it's a team and you're a family. Not everybody in the family might not get along, but everybody needs to do their job for everybody to eat at the end of the day. If you lived on the farm, just don't play checkers after dinner. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you still got to do what you need to do on the farm for everybody to eat. So that's kind of how it is. If you're the leader, there's no reason why you can't help take out the garbage. And there's no reason why you can't jump behind a POS, because you have to remember the patient needs to come first. And your employees are the most important. I'll tell you.
Business.
Yeah, your employees are the most important. And there's I look at it as there's your employees, okay. There's your patients, there's your process, and there's your product. So your people are your employees, right? Now you have your patients, your product, and your process. But you got to have a great process too, and great process and procedures. But I'll tell you, out of those four, the most important is going to be your people.
Yeah.
Your people can get you through times like COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, they can
Example
also
right
destroy a relationship with a patient too. They can run the gamut of experience for a business, right?
They can take the morale of your team down to
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah, because we all know that sometimes it just takes one rotten apple to spoil the whole bunch.
And then what you're doing is inside the store, you're spending so much time redirecting that you're forgetting that your time needs to be going into your yes mentalities and helping them get to the next level. And if you don't, what are they going to do? Go work for somebody that will.
Yeah, really, as a manager, you're like support staff, right? You're there to support your people.
You're as leaders, your parents.
Yeah.
You're there to provide everything you need for your kids, for them to be productive members of society. Yeah. I provide, as leaders in the store, you need to provide their schedule, right? Their uniforms, who's training them, where they're going to be, what they're going to be, like my kids, where they're going to be, what they're going to do. But my kids aren't in charge in my house, even though I do everything for them, and the employees aren't in charge in the stores, even though the leaders do everything for them. Right. The leaders are in charge.
Yeah.
It would be like if you had a problem with someone for 2 weeks and now let's say as a director or an area, you're coming visiting a store and they say, oh, this person's having an attitude for 2 weeks. It's like, how'd the conversation go 2 weeks ago?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did we lose anybody while this person's been acting like that since then? Because you should have right away just have the conversation, and it doesn't have to be against the employee. It just has to be about the behavior. And when you can separate those two, then you and the employee are both on the same page on their success. And then it's just, you got to redirect the behavior that has not, you're a great person. The behavior is not acceptable and it has to stop.
And that's really where I think that you lose a lot of motivation in employees, is when you don't take that approach, right? Like you address that specific issue, but you can't make it personal, right? You have to give them the opportunity to correct themselves too. And it's just for you to make it apparent, right? And say, listen, this was noticed, and
Oh, yeah, accountability. I mean, there's 5 rules. My battery seems it's going low too. Sorry, gentlemen, but there's 5 rules. There's ownership. I mean, if it can be on an issue in employee development, your own self-reflecting, when you can do this and point your finger, like every time you point your finger away, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you.
Yeah, this is true.
So what you do is you got to take ownership over whatever it is, then responsibility that it's going to get done. So how do you do it? You walk the walk. So someone walk that walk might be call your supervisor, might be call me. Just don't hand over the baton and go home. Walk the walk. Then 4 would be 0 excuses. And the last one, if you don't have any excuses, what do you got? A solution.
Yeah.
So as long as if you're at number 4 and you're starting to find an excuse, go back to number 3 and start walking the walk some more. And I've had meetings with either 40 or 400 people. I don't know. And I always say, what's the most important? And a lot of people say, Scotty G Solutions. And I go, I love you, but no, it's 0. If you don't have an excuse and you go by reaching out to your resources, you're going to find the solution. So if you don't have the solution, you're right now just complaining that you didn't go back to, did you really take ownership over it?
Right.
But it's all about development. But like I said, it's like my kids. You got to teach them the right way. And sometimes bouncing and falling off a trampoline, they might not do that again. They might bounce the right way.
Yeah, well, people learn more from experience than they do from conversation.
I set my goals so high that some of my failures are higher than most people's successes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it.
It's not really a failure, but either way, I still expect that higher expectation.
You don't grow without failure. It's important, right? A lot of the most very successful people have failed more times than most have tried, right? So You know, that's what it's about. How did you guys used to handle product education? Because that's a real problem I find in the industry, is because of the regulation, the product can't be given to the employees to experience so that they can relay their firsthand knowledge to patients.
We would have product knowledge booklets that would go out with not just new patients, but any other, not just that. There's a product insert that has to go through DOH, Department of Health requires, that goes in each bag that at least gives the information on dosaging, you know, and those types of products. But, you know, really the education needs to come from inside the store, you know, from the dispensary associate to the person that you're giving medicine to this person. You need to tell them how to use it. When you leave a pharmacy, they tell you you need to sign off if there's any questions, if you have or don't have, at least down here. You know, so I mean, if you're not taking that extra time with the consumer to go over, you know, like, you know, that knowledge, but that's where it's at. It's combining the cultivation with retail. So, I mean, cultivation loves talking about their what they grow. That's their babies.
Oh,
you know, if they were at the counter, the sale might go 3 times as long, but I'll tell you, you'll probably sell 3 times as much, and the consumer's going to get 3 times the benefit. It's not going to be a negative sale. They're just going to know more.
Yeah.
And because they know more, they're going to want more relief. But it's really up to that's the store manager, the area inspecting what you're expecting, and following up and following through. I mean, you can grow tree. You can grow the plant one day, but you're not growing it one day. You're growing it through the life cycle of the plant. Well, same thing with the dispensary and an employee. You're growing through the life cycle of that dispensary, or through that employee's where they're at in their level in their career. But if you're not educating the patient, I'm failing. You know, I mean, the company's failing. So you have to have the right materials. And then sometimes in dispensaries, you can have a flip screen where the screen's facing you and facing me. And then you can go on certain sites that might have that knowledge, and you can read through it together with the patient. And you can say, hey, so if you're not good with computers, I can be like, can you at least see the screen in front of you? Yeah, check it out. Look at it. Oh, you said you wanted relief on what? Look what it says. It says blank, blank, and blank, and blank.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, have a double screen. But I mean, you got to know who's standing in front of you. Just like as a leader, you got to know which employee is sitting in front of you. As a consultant, you got to know what patient's standing in front of you. You could be someone like me that wants to I know what I want. I want to get in and out. Yeah, and there's other people that they walk in and they're scared as
they're a little special.
They never even been in a dispensary before.
They can't remember that they were there yesterday.
I mean, I can preach on forever, but if you don't know your consumer, what are you offering?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
The highest THC percentage.
Right. Well, that's what I was trying to get to.
And
before.
The sale.
You know, like I'm a stoner.
I'm not saying that the consumer needs to do no more at home. I would just say, you know, just research your products that you just bought too. You know what I mean? And kind of know but at the counter, as the consultant, it's our job as the consultant to consult the patient's not the consultant.
No.
So the patient's the patient, the consultant's the consultant. So here in Florida, we do have separate patient consulting rooms, which are great, private. No one can hear you. You can go in there single or with your family. And then separately, you can walk in the showroom with yourself or a guest with a guest pass, but your whole family's not walking into the showroom. Also, because there's other patients that are in there too, and they need some privacy. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can do a whole patient consultation. And I'd recommend that doing it with people that just walk in and they don't even realize that you need to be a patient. Those are the best ones. Why? Let me tell you everything now, like where you need to go, what doctors, how the procedure is going to be after that. Maybe some cannabis information that if you want to read it, that you can. Yeah. But not just that. After you're now a registered patient, where do you think you're going to go buy your product? You can come right back to Scotty G.
Absolutely.
So it's the people that are not patients are really your future patients. And then the people that are our patients, you need to cater and take care of them. So I didn't mean everything's on the patient's end at all. No. Okay. I mean, the education's on our end. I would just say, as a patient, no matter what medicine I take, I still research it. If I get it from Publix pharmacy, or if I get it from, I look at the COA, their certificate of analysis, before I buy the product at the dispensary. I want to know what terpenes are in there. I don't even go to the THC side yet. I zoom right into, beta caryophyllene, limonene. Like if those two right are on the top, man, I'm probably good with that one, man.
Yeah.
And then what's after that? I don't know. Maybe if I want to chill some a little bit more, I might have some myrcene.
Yeah.
But I mean, if not, I'm going to find another one that's just going to help me out. But there's 150 terpenes we can go through.
Oh,
there's so many different cannabinoids, and it's like, if you're not a consultant talking about it, I'm going to bring you back to a $35 battery. One sold every day at 110 stores over a year is $1.4 million.
Yeah.
So stop selling cannabis and start educating the patient and let them decide on what they're going to spend. You never know. I mean, who knows who pulled up in what vehicle? Who knows who wants to spend what on their medical condition? Who knows who has what resources to spend on their medical condition,
Yep.
Like tip jars they have down here. It's kind of like sometimes the best tip's a compliment. Why? That dollar might be the dollar that person has to spend on dinner. You don't know who's in front of you.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? So just a thank you goes a longer way than anything. And making that patient feel great, you're going to pay your light bill any month. Like I said, anyone can quantify a sale. But when you throw in great customer service and a great cannabis recommendation, you can quantify the sale over the lifetime of that patient or that / consumer.
Yeah.
Because some retail patients, recreational consumers are patients. They are.
Yeah.
They just don't have a card. I was a recreational patient before I had my card.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's absolutely.
I think I was always a patient before I got my card.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how I feel.
No, and it's bang on, really. That's what dispensaries should be, especially, like, I think cannabis should be looked at a couple different ways, but a recreational dispensary has a different level of responsibility than a medical dispensary does. There should be a much higher standard, right, in a place that's dispensing medication.
More liability, yeah.
Yeah, more liability, absolutely.
Of course. So, one's a pharmacy. Like, inventory-wise is so important. I'm like, pharmacies don't lose Oxycontin.
No.
Right?
No.
Okay. There's no difference. A batch number is a batch number, and that's separate from this batch number, even if it's the same strain, same everything, whatever. It's just
because the COAs won't be the same.
Inventories, right? It's a different. Medicine in a way. I mean, it's slightly similar, but it's gonna be slightly. You got to look up the COA because the terpenes could be off in a little bit of a ways. A THC could be off in a little bit of ways.
So many things can affect the grow.
It's almost like they're twin sisters, but they're not identical. They're just they're twin sisters, right? Yeah,
exactly how it is. Yeah, no, for sure. That's really for me what it's about. To run a successful dispensary, you really have to have that customer service. You have to have a staff that has a deep knowledge base, and they have to learn to communicate to somebody with a grade 9 education for the most part. Because if you can do that, you can reach everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you not to be too technical, but to really have an in-depth conversation, you need to know what questions to ask, how to elicit the right responses that allow you.
We got two ears and one mouth.
Yeah,
listen to who's in front of you, man. They're going to tell you everything that you need to know. And then recommend a couple options and let them decide.
Yeah, and it's all about customer experience, right? Customers will come back.
Number one.
To where they have the best experience.
Their fucking main concern is as soon as I walk in, their first words out of their mouth are, please tell me you called in your order and I don't have to fucking deal with you. That's the attitude we get when we walk in.
It should be like Cheers, like in Norm. You remember? I mean, I don't want to age myself.
Not like that. No, that's
when
what I'm
Norm
saying.
used to go to Cheers. When Norm, he got walked in and it was Norm.
Yeah.
The only way they know my name
what kind
is
of drink he liked too.
The
And
only
he
way
went
they know
back every single day.
Yeah, it's true.
Every single day. But it's, there's a lot of company branding standards that need to be consistent for your company to succeed. You go into Moe's, I don't know if you all ever have them, and I always use it, but if you go in and they're like, welcome to Moe's, right? If you walk into one and you didn't hear that, you might feel a little bit different. It's not the same experience. So McDonald's, you get the same exact French fry. No matter what McDonald's, you're going to get the same French fry. So you should have the same greeting when you walk in, but it shouldn't start off with, are you a walk-in or pickup? Right? Because that's what you're getting. It should start off with welcome to whoever's. How you doing today?
Yeah.
How you doing today?
Yeah, always. You got to be like
if
that.
If you've been there before, I'm probably going to call you by your name. If I don't know you, I'm going to say, listen, are you a new patient here? Have you been here before? Because why? Know who's in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Expedite, know who's in front of you and expedite. Da.Hippie doesn't want to wait, and I don't want to wait.
I don't mind waiting. I want the fucking customer care. That's what I want.
Right.
I don't mind spending 20 minutes there if I'm going to get the quality care that I want.
Like I said, know who's in front of you. Me, I know what I want. Market. I want to be in and out. Da.Hippie wants to have more notes put in his profile so you know what the hell he likes when he comes back and he doesn't have to start all over.
Yeah.
Right.
Every time he comes
when I go there, if I go in there, I want to know, like, all right, shit, we're out of kosher tangy. I'm not one to go look it up on the computer. I go there and I walk in the door and they're like, oh, you didn't fucking call in an order again. And I'm like, no.
Oh, man, they should be like, man.
I sit down in my chair. I sit in my chair there and I talk to them and they get angry. They don't get angry. I got a couple of them that love me and we get along great. I'm a very nice guy to get along with, but they don't care. Like they only know my name because the computer tells them as the door opens, it tells the next person that walks in so that they know who it is. And they're like, hey, Tom.
Have you ever got a customer follow-up call to let you know that your favorite strain happens to be in? No way, right? Okay, missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Ask me what's wrong in the cannabis industry. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He would have went in the same day if they would have called him, right?
All right. I don't want to lie. I don't want to lie. I do get texts from them.
I don't mean what sales.
What's on sale.
Right.
No. I mean that. Hey, I got super lemonade. For DoktorHigh, I got super lemon haze, man, and I got 50 units. How many you want me to put aside for you, man?
That's right.
How many you want? That's I mean, it's a missed up. If you're not doing it, I mean, I'm sorry, your business is going to close.
I'm going.
Yeah, it's about relationships, right? Sales is a relationship, and it's building a relationship, one based on trust. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? Friendliness, openness, and trust. And as soon as you establish that with a patient, that's your patient now. Yep. When they come back to the store, they're looking for you. And that's what you want. You know what I mean? You want to have so many people looking for you that the store's busy all the time.
Can I ask a question? Is it wrong of me, etiquette wise, to say, no, I'm going to wait for the next part. I'm going to wait for her or him.
Perfectly fine. As long as you're not stalking somebody, like, like
I have a
outside of work. Stalk. No, of course not. You want why? Ask and tell the manager why.
Yeah.
They provide outstanding customer service, and that person should be training everybody here.
Everybody else, she should be teaching everybody how to do this.
She should be teaching her. And you know what? I'd like you to give her some recognition, please. Like
give her a promotion.
In a store meeting. Yeah, please.
She's
she's the reason why I come here. If she goes to another store, I'm following her to another store.
Absolutely, because she's beautiful. I mean, she's really good at her job too.
And I agree totally.
She's the hottest pot dealer I've ever had, man. She's the hottest drug dealer I've ever had.
Well, when you're dealing with medical cannabis as a patient, then the relationship you have with your provider is very important. So yeah, I think ethically, it's perfectly acceptable.
It's
to
not
say, you know what?
inappropriate. It's completely appropriate. And I would say it would be
But you
inappropriate
gotta
for
take-
you not to speak to the person that you want to talk to.
All right, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna make a stink about it. I'm gonna start a whole new thing over
You
at my
tell him
dispensary
Scotty G
because
says this
I
is what
say,
needs to
you
happen
guys are
moving
doing-
forward.
I'm going
That's
in there
right.
and I'm saying you guys are doing this all fucking wrong. First of all, Missy, you need to put a fucking smile on your face, you bitch, at the front door.
Smile when you're on the phone.
Because I hate walking up and seeing your fucking grumpy ass every morning. And she's like, give me a card.
No, come on. If they're the first and the last person in the shit, that's
Yeah,
like
the
a hostess
security.
in the restaurant. You got to smile and be friendly. You know, they're the
Security
first and
sitting
the
by
last.
No, security by the front door. What do
I'll tell
fucking
you,
want?
there's only one reason that dispensary is in business is because people go there to pick up whatever.
Because we only have
quality-
two.
Okay,
only
well,
have
that's why
two.
they're in business.
Yeah.
They're not, you
Yeah.
know, wait till if they had competition, they wouldn't be in business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because-
right. Lack of competition makes
Or
for bad
quality
business.
service.
You're going there because you got two dealers. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
You know what? I'm going to say something, though. I'm going to say there's two in my area. Both of them are within an hour from me. So I have to drive. One's an hour and 20
Well,
minutes. The other
yeah.
one's like an hour. Okay. So I got to travel either way.
Yeah.
The one that's better is up there. But their quality, when they first started, they were wonderful, but they have been beaten
Okay.
down and hurt so hard that they can't, they're done. They're like fed up with it. You know, like as an employee, you're like, how much time am I going to put in every day, busting my ass for whatever amount, you know, and it was so busy in the beginning, you know, when they first got the license or whatever, and they were open, everybody was going to them. So they were jam packed.
Well, when competition smacks them in the face, they'll know that service over sales. So listen, my battery's going out on this one. I read the notes. I heard that laptops were better, but as you know, I'm traveling. So if I need to sign out at this point, if that's okay, before I lose you.
Absolutely. I want to thank you so much for
Listen,
being
I
here.
love the whole community.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
What was that?
Thank you so much. We'd
You're
love
welcome.
to talk
Listen,
to you.
like I said
thank you
earlier,
so much.
we're all stronger together. You know what I mean?
Stronger together.
We're all
I
stronger
agree.
together. So
I
listen,
agree.
much love to you.
Anytime you got any events you want to talk about or anything like that, please let us know because we'd love to have you back.
Well, thank you. Thank you
know
all.
where to
Thank you
find
both
me in the
specifically for
Discord.
your time. Thank you both specifically for your time and your audience. Thank you. You guys have a great 420 today. Enjoy your
Absolutely.
times and, just, enjoy the day and just be kind to everybody else. That's what matters.
Exactly. Be
That's
kind and smile.
Smile. You can even hear someone smile over the phone. So smile
can.
even when you're on the phone.
You only die once. Live every day.
That's right. And a thank you goes a long way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Please.
Have a
Thanks,
good one.
Scotty. All right. I'm going to run a commercial.
Oh, nice. You're finally going to do that, huh?
Well, I just knew how it was going to play out, so I knew we had time.
Oh, you knew he was going to, and his phone was going to die, and you were like, I got this. I got it.
I heard the beep.
All right. Well, kind people.
Well, that was a quick conversation.
I wish I could play kind people, but we got to do our commercials.
They're coming. Just waiting for it to load up.
So is Christmas.
Yeah, it was a good show, Garrett. It was a really good show today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice surprise.
Yeah,
The
I was.
place is having
Kerry is
video.
amazing. Kerry, thank you so much for introducing us to Scotty G in the house.
Yeah, it was very cool. It's a different perspective than one
Yeah, it
that
was-
we'll usually have, right? Because it's
Right, I
more of a
wasn't expecting. I thought it was going to be more about the growing, but it was really more about the whole business aspect of it,
which
which
was
was
very
amazing.
cool. I mean,
Yeah, very interesting. Badger Heart Puppetry. Badger Heart Puppetry. If you need some kick-ass puppets, contact Forge at 1-636-234-1535. He has all your puppet needs. He can fix puppets, build puppets, custom-made puppets. He has puppets off the rack for cheap prices. Contact Forge today at 1-636-234-1535 or on TikTok or Facebook at Badger Heart Puppetry. He also makes LARPing items too.
Are you in the Ellensville or Middletown, New York area? Revamp your space with Collins Paints Ltd. Ugly walls? Let Collins Paints Ltd add a splash of color to your world. Collins Painting is a veteran-owned and operated business. They can transform your space to whatever your heart desires. Say goodbye to the boring beige and hello to possibilities of bright and vibrant colors. The Collins Painting team are a group of skilled professional painters who will turn your vision into reality. Call Collins Paint Ltd today to get a fast and easy quote. Available Monday through Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. 869-8176.
Hey, Mississippi, why don't we take a ride to Dauphin, PA today?
Ah, for crying out loud. Come on, High. Pull it together.
Fuck me.
And the 5.
I can only freeze for so long, bro.
Says
Call them at 845-869-8176.
What are you sorry about, Lee Hacker, you butthead? Nothing to be sorry about. High, you're a quitter. You're a quitter, High. You just leave me here, flat lever. You flat lever. We still got 5 minutes left in the show, bruh. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Flat lever. Well, I guess I'll dance. Come on, High. Get your ass back in here, you bum. Ugh, man, you're a pain in the ass.
Kicked
Oh,
me
hi.
straight
Oh, hi, Dr. High. You're back.
Kicked my ass straight out, it did.
Damn you, man. I had to dance. I had to do everything.
I don't get. Did you show your junk?
No, I tried to keep it low. I was like, I held it down so nobody could see it.
So frustrating, man. I'm sitting here. I'm like, fuck.
I could only imagine what you were
I
saying.
hate that shit. I tell you. I don't know what to do to fix it,
I
but
think Garrett says he's going to buy you a new computer.
oh, nice. Actually, I talked to
Thank you,
Garrett a little
Garrett.
bit. I talked to Garrett a little bit earlier today, and he's got this mega fast big computer going on over there. I was thinking that maybe we'll just have him pop the commercials.
Well, I heard rumors that we could actually put our friend Spam Risk offered to do it. She said that she could be in the room down there and actually control the commercials and stuff right from there.
Well, Garrett could do that too, but anyway, we'll get to
Garrett's
that
our
another
producer.
time.
I will thank Spam Risk
Yep.
for the idea, but I mean, yeah,
Yep.
that's absolutely a possibility because
Yeah, we actually already talked about that today. So,
oh, for crying out loud.
This
I
was
don't
a-
like how you just take things into your own hand and get stuff done. I got no time for that getting shit done stuff.
no, I'm trying to make sure because Hippie, I want this to fucking be big. I want us to be able.
Oh, we're
to
gonna be
turn this
huge.
thing up amazing.
It's gonna be
You know what I
huge.
mean?
bruh.
And if we keep getting guests like we had today with Scotty
And Kerry
and
yesterday,
Gary and yeah, and
geez, and Dr. Harris and
yeah,
Muck
Sticky,
Sticky,
and
Speed
we've had so
Squatch,
many good ones already.
Speed Squatch. Oh my God, we're gonna have him back up. He's still fucking putting out songs every day, bro.
And Kelly Collins.
Oh, and that Kelly Collins girl, yeah.
Kelly Collins for
And
sure.
Lori,
Oh,
don't
we
forget
got great supporters, man. Like everybody out there that supports us.
You know what? We'll have one day. We're
Um,
gonna bring a few of our supporters up every day. You know, a couple times. We'll
I think we should. I think we should sometimes.
Maybe tomorrow. We don't have any guests currently as of right now, so
Right.
maybe tomorrow we'll bring up Garrett and maybe some of the others. You know, I'd love to. And we can do an area one, like because we got Garrett and
Chris and Tom.
Chris and Tom and
Tom.
Donovan. We can get all four of them up at one point. You know. That'll be fun especially when they're all over there helping Chris trim everything.
Ah, there we go. Chris's pictures look great, by the way. I had a look at them yesterday, and because we had Carrie with us, I didn't really get a chance to address it, but they're looking good, Chris. Keep it up because they're
Dr.
smelling nice. They're starting to look pretty good.
So this is my solution. What do you think? I know we only have 2 minutes. I'm going to get my wife's. She has a nice little greenhouse. It's kind of like a plastic one that's 3x3 or 4x4 or 2x4 or something. But I can take the shelves down. It'll be a decent little area. I'm going to put a blanket over it and cover it completely. So that'll be my dark. And then when I lift the blanket up and put whatever lights on, then put it back down. What do you think? Will that work with my fan and my little heater in there?
Yeah, you may not need the heater. Depends on the lights.
The humidifier, yeah. It's a greenhouse, though. It's like, but it doesn't have. It's kind of like a see-through greenhouse. So I want to.
But it's more of a controlled environment. So
right, but I want to.
We'll have to take a look at it for sure.
I'm going to set it up today. I think so.
What's for tomorrow with Seed Squatch? Is
tomorrow?
That with Ken? Did you get a chance to talk to him about Ken yesterday?
Oh, speaking of that, Ken. Yes, no, I need to talk to Seed Squatch. Seed Squatch, I'll talk to you afterwards in the room. Because I want to actually see if we can push Ken off until Monday.
Very interesting. I sat down and watched all the YouTube stuff I could find about him yesterday, and super, super interesting gentleman.
Because Monday is our first official show on CBG TV.
Yep, our debut.
We would love to have him as our opening show,
Yeah, that would be phenomenal.
Anyway, it's 2:00, bro.
All right, let me roll the end credits. Thanks everybody for spending time with us today. It's been wonderful. We had a great show.
Absolutely.
We appreciate all your support and love and hanging out with us. And be safe and stay stoned.
Yeah, everybody, please. Seed Squatch, I'll talk to you in the back in a few minutes. Go ahead.
Ready to go. Stick around. I want to talk to you.
Go ahead.
Well, let's see what my computer does this time.
Of sticky green, just hang with me, and in one day we'll smoke more than you've ever seen. It's colder when it's hot, we smoke lots of pot every single day, every single day. If you're ever in need, we smoke lots of weed every single day, every single day. Up in trees and singing songs, rolling blunts and packing bongs every single day, every single day. So if you plan on stopping by, you can plan on getting high every single day, every single day.
And there it goes again.
No, it finished.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn, it did it again.
That's how it finishes.
Oh, all right. Let me hang up.
It should actually fade it out.
Everybody have a good one. Take care. Peace.